Chapter 27, Rimiru's Godlike Powers. Rimiru and the rest were transported back to the forest, where he lived a parallel existence of himself to guard Hinata, who was still unconscious from the fight. The parallel existence is a skill that he had developed after analyzing dimension shift and cloning. She thought it would be useful for her master to be able to be anywhere at once, which is why she created the parallel existence for him. Although Rimiru at first was not complaining, since the skill is quite convenient, useful, and saves him a lot of time, though he crossed it as one of his overpowered skills in his collection. Upon arriving, the parallel Rimiru disappeared from his spot, leaving the original Rimiru as the only Rimiru in the forest. Rimiru walked up to Hinata with his subordinates, including Kiria and Ultima, following him. He knelt down next to Hinata and stretched out his hand above her, which started to glow with magical particles of magic jewels flowing from his hand into Hinata. Soon after, Hinata opened her eyes and sat up with a surprised look. She looked at her body and found no injuries whatsoever on her body, with all of her strength returned. She looked up and saw Rimiru next to her with the three ogres and some new people she did not recognize. What happened? I was certain that you were going to kill me. She didn't know why he was sparing her life. Rimiru stood up and walked to where his subordinates were. Believe me, I was, but I cannot bring myself to kill Sheets' student. You may not believe me, but I don't want to be at odds with your nation or yourself. How can I believe you? You killed all my team and knights, Hinata asked him with a small voice. You guys attacked me first, and I simply responded. Though now I see that you and I were merely dancing into someone else's plans. Luckily for us, they're all dead now, she said to her. Just then, a great force fell to the ground with a great boom, which shook the forest. The two demons rushed to Rimiru's side and stood on guard, while Rimiru, Bimaru, Saye, and Shinon remained calm. They have already sensed the person coming before she reached the forest, hence why they were calm. The dust cleared and revealed Milim carrying Luminous on her back. Milim dropped Luminous on the ground without a care and rushed to Rimiru and jumped into his arms, giving him a hug in the process. Rimiru, though surprised by the presence and state of Luminous, still returned the hug to Milim. What can you say? He truly loved this girl with all his heart. Kiria and Ultima, seeing that Milim was not a threat to their master, relaxed their guard and observed their master and Demon Lord Milim still hugging each other. Rimiru tightened his hold on Milim and rested his face at the crook of her neck and smiled. It hasn't been that long and I missed you so much. Milim had her face in Rimiru's chest, smiled in bliss. I feel the same way, Rimiru. I missed you more than you know. Rimiru separated himself from the hug and kissed Milim with all his heart. Milim closed her eyes and melted into the kiss with pure bliss. They didn't even realize that everyone was staring at them. Kiria looked at the scene with a little interest. I can't believe Milord was able to charm Demon Lord Milim Nava. Ultima nodded her head. Same, they appear to have a strong and deep feelings for each other. They are engaged to each other and plan on marrying in the near future, Shinon told the two demons. Luminous stood up and dusted herself off, while looked at her wounds, which were slowly closing due to her small reserve at the moment. She looked at Hinata, who was staring at Milim and Rimiru making out. She sighed when she saw the blush on Hinata's face from watching those two. Hinata! Hinata turned her attention away from the makeout session and looked at the state Luminous was in and panicked and rushed to her side in an instant. Are you okay, Lady Luminous? You're covered in wounds, Hinata asked while panicking. Luminous sighed and looked at Hinata. Don't worry about that, Hinata. I will heal in no time at all. Hinata nodded her head and stepped aside from Luminous. Luminous walked up to Rimiru and Milim, who were still making out with each other. I really don't want to interrupt you two, but we have some business with each other, Rimuru, she said to them. Rimuru, realizing that he and Milim had an audience, broke the makeout session. Milim pouted when this happened, but Rimuru assured her that they would continue later by pecking her on the lips, which made her happy. Rimuru faced Luminous and raised an eyebrow at her appearance. Luminous, was surprised to see you in my nation. What happened to you? Luminous changed her face changed to that of anger. Why don't you ask your future wife over there? After all, she shows up. She knows better on what happened to me. Shinnon got a little upset after hearing that way. Luminous was talking to Rimuru, but she kept quiet, knowing that she meant no harm. She will not disgrace herself by jumping to conclusions. Over a little misunderstanding, she would not hear the end of it from Diablo if she did. Rimuru had a surprised look in his face before he turned to Milim. What is she talking about? Well, I saw a bunch of knights marching here in their full gear. Naturally, I got upset thinking that Luminous is planning to start a war with you, so I went over to her place and beat her up, with every intention of killing her, but she kept spouting some nonsense about not being the one who gave the knights the order to attack your nation, so I brought her here to confirm if she's telling the truth or not, Milim said with a proud look, expecting Rimuru to praise her. Rimuru did not know what to say in this situation. His beautiful fiancée clearly did this for him, but she attacked Luminous, who had nothing to do with this. He sighed and gently hit Milim on the head. Ouch, what was that for, Rimuru? Milim asked while rubbing her head. Rimuru sighed again. Love, you jumped to conclusions a little too quickly. Luminous had nothing to do with this. It was all a plan devised by the 7 Days clergy, who planned on using me to kill Hinata. Luckily, they're all dead, so it's all good now. Milim had an oh look and turned away from Luminous, who was glaring daggers at her while whistling, though she's bad at it. Rimuru saw the look at Luminous was giving Milim and turned to her. I'm sorry for the problem Milim might have caused you because of me. I hope you can forgive her. Luminous glared at her for a moment before she sighed. It's not like I can do anything to her, and being angry will not restore my nation and bring back my people that she killed. Rimuru had an idea. How about I restore your nation and bring back people she killed as my way of saying sorry? Luminous and everybody there looked at Rimuru with wide eyes. What do you mean by that, Rimuru? Luminous asked him. Well, like I said, I can bring back everyone Moon killed and restore your nation as an apology on her behalf. Rimuru told her. Do you have the power to restore life on those who have long since died and whose soul have been destroyed by the hands of your future wife over there? Luminous asked him with caution. Milim smiled. Something like that is child's play for me. So do you accept? Luminous had no words to say that. Rimuru just said that restoring and recreating a lost life is child's play to him. If that's not godlike powers, she doesn't know what is. Please do, Rimiru. I will greatly appreciate it, she answered him honestly. Kyria had a wide smile on her face. Is there nothing Milord can't do? At this point, nothing will surprise me anymore, Ultima said. She smiled at them. There is absolutely nothing Lord Rimiru can't do. He is the greatest, after all. Bimaru nodded at them. You two are still no to this, but this will be the only beginning of our Lord Rimiru's great powers. And Kyria had a wide smirk on her face. Truly, I'm glad I joined him now. Same here, I can't have someone weaker than me as my master, and my powers have tripled after he gave me my name. I will follow him forever because he is my master, Ultima said with a smile. Rimiru smiled from hearing the trust his admirers had in him. He looked at Luminous. Well, let's begin. Please wait, Rimuru, Hinata said. What is it, Hinata? Rimuru asked her. Hinata knelt down in front of him and bowed her head. Can you bring bring back my fellow paladins as well? She pleaded with him. Rimuru thought about it and nodded his head. Sure, no problem. I will bring back all of them, except for the one in guard. I was informed by Diablo that he was part of the plans of the 7 Days clergy. Hinata had no words to except for gratitude. Your kindness is more than I can ask for. I am truly sorry for causing all of this. Hinata, Rimuru smiled at her. I, too, may have overreacted a bit, but it's okay. Raise your head, Hinata. Hinata stood up and went back to Luminous. Luminous smiled at her and took her hand. Hinata, being surprised because of this, made no movement, removing her hand from Luminous. Note from author, yes, I ship these two, and you will see more of their ships in this story. Back to the story. Rimiru turned to his subordinates and Milim. Please, everyone, I want you to step back a bit. Everyone did as they were told, with some, like Milim, Shinon, Carria, and Ultima, eager to see what Rimiru could do. Luminous and Hinata stepped back as well, not wanting to get in the way of whatever Rimuru might be planning. Rimuru, seeing that everyone stepped back, closed his eyes and began to concentrate. A huge burst of mana became pouring out of him, which greatly shocked Hinata and the two demons. Hinata almost passed out, but Luminous protected her by covering her with her barriers. Do y'all understand why he asked you to never challenge him in battle? Luminous asked her. Hinata nodded, dumbfounded. I never knew he was holding back this much power. This power is beyond anything I've seen in this world. I know what you mean, but bear in mind that this is not his full power, Luminous told her. Hinata had a shocked look. All this power, and you're saying he's back? Most definitely. I know this because it's not even a percentage of the power he was releasing when he fought Milim at the Wolfbriggs Council. Hinata could do nothing except the reality that that Rimuru was way above and beyond anything a human or any being on Earth could achieve. Carria and Ultima heard what Hinata had and Luminous were discussing, and only made them happier to be able to serve someone as powerful as Rimuru. CL, I leave managing power to you. I leave managing the powers to you, Rimiru thought to himself. Leave it to me, Master. Due to the souls of people of Luminous being destroyed by Milim Nava, I require to change the reality and destiny of the victims with the ultimate skill, Lord of Fate. I'm counting on you, CL. Rimiru used the universal sense to sense the state of Luminous and what to fix. He raised his hands and a blue light began to spark from his body. Lord of Fate, Rimiru shouted. The sky darkened, a giant magic circle appeared in the ground which covered the entire Jura forest. Then the impossible began to happen, right in front of everyone present. Dust began to gather and take shape of people, and before long the dust formed the paladins that were previously killed by Rimiru's opponents. The land where the battles took place began to restore, and before long the paladins opened their eyes and began to look around in confusion. The same miracle was happening in Luminous as well. Everyone there had their jaw on the ground. They could not believe what they were seeing. Rimiru did not bring those paladins back to life. Oh no, he did something even more insane than that. He recreated them and gave them new life. This is the power of creation that was only stated in the legends. That has only stated to have existed in legends. This made them to understand how vast the difference of power between Rimiru and them were. Rimiru looked at them and smiled. Hey CL, is there a reason why you didn't suggest that I use my other skills for this? Due to the nature of the energy turned null and how chaotic it is still under analysis and won't be able to until after the analysis is done. Even if it is attempted to be used this early, it might end up destroying the world instead. I see then. Well, it doesn't matter since I still got the job done with my other skills. You just keep doing what you have been doing for me, partner, Rimiru told her. As you wish, master. The paladins looked around and saw Rimuru alongside his subordinates and Hinata. They quickly stood up in fear and looked at Rimuru with great fear. What the heck are you doing? What's going on? Arnaud asked. We are just lost as you, Arnaud, Batches said. I could have sworn I died. How am I still alive? Litis asked. I don't know, but something tells me that Demon Lord Rimuru has something to do with it, Fritz said to her. The other paladins began to murmur among themselves because of the situation they found themselves in. Rimuru lowered his head and addressed them all. I know you all paladins have some questions, and I would like to explain all. Yes, you all died, but thanks to the pleas of Hinata and your god Luminous, I brought you all back to life. This situation was a plot made by the 7 Days clergy who wanted to use me in order to kill Hinata, but they are all dead now. Let today be a warning to you all that you should never mess with my nation again, or we will retaliate. The paladins looked at each other before they all lowered their head and shouted, Thank you, Demon Lord Rimiru. Luminous walked up to Rimiru. What about my nation? Don't worry. Everything is fixed. I brought back everyone who died in your country. Rimiru explained to her. Milim jumped on the back of Rimiru and hugged him from behind. My darling Rimiru, is there nothing you can't do? Rimiru smiled and turned around and hugged Milim to himself. It's nothing really. I'm really strong, but I'm not omnipotent yet. Milim released herself from the hug and looked at Rimuru with love. I don't care. To me, you are always the greatest. She kissed Rimuru after that. After the kiss, Rimuru asked everyone to follow him back to the town to discuss the future of the relation between Luminous and the Drua Tempest Federation. Drua Forest Federation. Lapras could not believe the nightmare that was happening before his eyes. He was in a cave located in Jizav, along with the other clown troops. Yuki and Kag Ali was there too. Yuki said that he had a plan and involved releasing a seal that was hid away in the cave in Jizav. According to Yuki, the being in the seal said to be the god of everything and made him a promise to grant whoever that released him immeasurable powers. The skill was very powerful, but thanks to Yuki's anti-skill bypassing it, it was nothing more than child's play. Once the seal was released, that was when the nightmare began for Lapras and the rest of them. The seal being released, there was not who any of them were expecting, and before they could react, the being disappeared and appeared behind Yuki and thrust her right hand into his heart and ripped his heart out from his back. None of them could react at all because of the being began to release a massive amount of aura, which brought them all to their knees, except for Yuki, who was still hanging on by the being's hand. The being looked at the dying Yuki in her arms. I must say, I'm shocked that you were the one who freed me from the cursed seal, Yuki. For that, you have my praise. Yuki looked at the being. What's going on here? How can there be two of you in this world? The being, whose gender is female, smiled cruelly at him. It's not your concern, Yuki. All you have to know is that I'm free, and it's all thanks to you for believing in a stupid story I made up by granting power to whoever freed me. Goodbye, Yuki, and good riddance to you. Black flames came out of the being's hand and consumed Yuki and erased him in the blink of an eye. The being turned to look at the others, who still kneeling. Now it's your turn to die. Lapras, knowing what was going to the end for them, he used all of his magic to create a magic circle under Tyr, who was being crushed by the power the being was releasing. Tyr saw the circle and tried to look at Lapras, but couldn't. Lapras shouted out with all his might, You must go, Tyr, and warn Demon Lord Rimiru about the calamity that is coming for him. Tear, hearing the message, began to cry because she knows that this is the end for all of them. Lapis activated the circle, which teleported Tear away from the cave. The being saw everything that happened, but she didn't care. She incinerated Lapis and rested without batting an eye. Once that was done, she moved to the exit of the cave and looked to the horizon. She breathed in the fresh air and smiled. It's been a long time since I was sealed, but I'm finally free. Now I can take my time to take my love, Milim, and kill Rimiru, because he's the only obstacle in my heart, the only obstacle in my way. Though currently should be weak to face me, but it doesn't matter because he has something I want, and I won't hesitate to take it from him, she said to herself. She stepped out of the cave, releasing her aura, which caused the sky to darken. I'm coming, Milim. Back in Tempest, no one felt the ominous power except for CL. So the time has finally come. I sealed her away before, and I will do it again. But if she wants to harm my master, I will do what must be done, no matter how painful it will be, CL thought to herself. Note from author. That's it for this chapter. So Yuki we all thought was going to be the big bad main villain, is dead. Now the new threat is awakened. I hinted on the new villain chapter 25, and now we know that CL has a connection with her. All I can tell you is that from here on out, this story will take a great turn from the novels because a lot of things are going to change, but not in a bad way, mind you. Anyway, thanks for reading, and see you in the next chapter. That's all for today's video. Don't forget to subscribe today to become one of my domestic listeners. Goodbye, and peace out, everyone.